All right, to talk about the economy, where we are, where we need to be, solutions, joining us is Dr. Alex Tyson, an economics professor at Grand Canyon University. Thanks for doing this again.
Happy to do it.
It's good to see you. Fortunately for us, the numbers are coming in. The CPI and the PPI are in, Consumer Price Index, Producer Price Index, gauging inflation. But I want to talk about where people are financially. To get to where we need to go, isn't it more about wage growth now that we've moderated inflation?
Well, that's always the thing. It's easy to bring prices up, right? It's hard to bring prices down once they're already up. Right now, we've thankfully come down from some of the highs of 9% inflation that we had back in 2022, but we're still in this period where prices are elevated, and you're correct. Income growth is really going to be ultimately the way that you return from this hole that we've somewhat gotten ourselves into.
So the economy of Arizona has morphed and changed over the last decade, and we've really brought in a lot of industry. So we are bringing in some of those higher paying jobs. What's the key to wage growth consistently across all sectors?
Well, genuinely right now, broader business conditions in the valley are honestly looking up somewhat, right? We don't have the same level of cost growth that we used to have. The most important thing right here is that we have an excellent workforce here, that we bring in businesses, that we maintain demand for those industries that are going to be the source of growth in the future, talking things like semiconductors, solar, electric vehicles, et cetera.
Is the key, I owned a small business, so for me, everything is very, very simple, and I know it's not that way for everyone, but if you want me to be able to pay people more, I have to be able to hold on to cash. I have to be able to have access to money. Is that part of the key, is access to borrowing money at a lower rate?
Exactly. Well, right now we've had this period where businesses have been facing heightened, interest rates as the Fed has been really trying to get inflation under control. Inflation is somewhat flatlined, and I think that means that on the Fed side of things, it's going to be tough to see them lowering rates much more right now, which also means I think that on a national level, we should hopefully be seeing the conversation turning a little bit towards getting the fiscal house in order, towards making longer-term borrowing conditions, the sorts of things that matter for longer-term business loans, that matter for mortgage loans for new home buyers in the Valley, getting this longer-term fiscal house in order for the federal government and local and state governments as well.
When you look at inflation rates, the Valley at one time was one of the highest in the country, and it seems now we're at about 1.6%. Is it year over year?
Year over year.
So that means that we've moderated our inflation, but we're also seeing wage growth above 6%. Is that the kind of consistent balance we need to get back to where people are feeling comfortable and a good quality of life?
That's exactly correct. Right now we've thankfully got below the national average inflation rate. As you said, in Arizona, we've got 1.6% inflation here in the Valley compared to a national year-over-year inflation rate of 2.9%. And we've got projected personal income growth of about 7%, which is exactly the type of trajectory that you want to have Arizonans in a better financial state to actually improve their situation going forward.
When you explain the economy to first-year economics students, when you talk about what does the average consumer need to be looking at, when you're looking at projections from a professor point of view, what does a novice look at to see where we're going to be? What are the indicators you look for?
Well, Quite frankly, you look at the data that you have right now, and you also look at what are the headwinds coming in. Right now you hear some noises about tariffs, and so hopefully we have some responsible conversations about that going forward.
Right.
You also have a lot of conversations about, again, as I already mentioned, hopefully some fiscal reconciliation of how exactly we get things on a more sustainable footing. So I think both having an eye on where we're at and also what are the challenges coming at us going forward.
And I'm glad you mentioned the tariffs, because the policies of leadership in Washington, D.C., but the policies also at the state level and the local level play a huge role in the ability for businesses to sustain and for individuals, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. As we're seeing right now, federal decisions matter a lot, but so do state and local decisions, right? Having responsible governance, having good pro-business and pro-investment policies matter quite a bit for the fiscal sustainability and the economic sustainability of our local economy and our national economy.
I always appreciate the input. It's always a great conversation with an expert. I appreciate the time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike.
We'll be right back.